welcome to the Get At Gaming Plus podcast. I'm Alex,
I'm Ben.
and we like to talk about all fun things, whether that's video games, anime, whatever we like. Honestly, we just like to have a good way of talking to each other, and we're like, hey, why not let's just record this and maybe let other people enjoy these things. Maybe have the same opinions, maybe you hate our opinions, but regardless, it still creates a community there and discussion, and that's good for the internet, especially civil discussion. So don't be hating on us unless we really deserve it. But yeah, we talk about all cool things, video games, again, nerdy stuff. If you like us here, wherever you're listening, consider going to the other place. So if you are on whether that's iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon, consider going to youtube.com/getatitgaming, where you can find a video version of these podcasts that we record every week, and they go up every week, where you can look at our lovely faces or our ugly faces. You decide. Write in the comments now, ugly, beautiful, and then rate us.
My mom says I'm beautiful. That's all that matters.
I mean, I guess that's all that matters. I'm not gonna touch that one, but yeah,
I think we both look better than Pete Davidson, so I think it's a win.
That
for
is
everybody.
100% true, man. I saw like a commercial with him. Like, you okay, buddy? You okay? Like,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I feel like we should sit him down and be like, "This is a safe space."
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, all the women he dates are like beautiful women. It's crazy. Now, granted, he's dating Kim Kardashian, and I saw Kanye West clip from the BET Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to check that man's meds. This is what he's wearing. He's wearing a hoodie, a black like ski mask over top with sunglasses, and then another mask here.
He thinks he's Kakashi. He just wants to have two masks on.
Here's what's crazy. He was introducing, like, they were doing a tribute to P. Diddy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like talking. I'm like, who is this? I had to read the description. I'm like, oh, that's Kanye West. So, okay. Pete Davidson is a step up from Kanye West, I will admit. But
heard it here first. Breaking news: Pete Davidson is a step up from Kanye West.
Pete Davidson is a move up. Yep.
Yes,
it's a lateral move.
But yeah, today we plan on talking about some Anime Expo news, just a little bit of things that I personally found interesting, and then Ben also finds interesting as well. I chose the topics today, so he better find them interesting. And then we're also gonna have a little discussion about just collecting and how we feel about it nowadays, and if it's a fun time, if it's slowly killing us, like, it's probably a little column A, column B, but you'll find out later in the episode. But right now, what we normally like to do in the beginning is talk about what we've been playing or hidden trophies, where we talk about things that we have recently purchased and we probably regret, but we purchase them anyway because then we can show them off on video on youtube.com/getatgaming if you are watching the video. So I'm gonna make Ben go first. So Ben, what are your hidden trophies? Or what have you been playing?
My buddy, our buddy, friend of the show, Spencer, was selling off some of his game stuff, and I was fortunate enough to go over and buy some of it. And these are like a couple of things. I did get the collector's edition of Death Stranding. I'm not going to hold it up here. My wife says I have to get rid of it because it's a baby in a bottle and it creeps her out.
You don't like BB? You don't like the little BB? Does he light up too?
Yeah, he does. I didn't even get to put batteries in him. She's like, oh my God, that is the creepiest thing ever. And I'm like, this thing sold for like $200 and something, I think.
Listen, I know that you do that and you sell stuff like that. Just give it to me and I'll take good care of it. I'll take good care of it for free, you know? I'll take care of that baby.
So I can't show that because it's over there, it's giant. But these were like some of the things that I did buy that I didn't know that I was getting, really. One of them is the Halo 5 Collector's Edition. Um,
Ooh.
and as I was talking to Alex, I had this at one point. I traded it off for some reason, and I'm pretty sure Spencer bought my one because he works at the place I traded it. Because everything in here is sealed, everything is still in here, and Alex knows that I would never have put that stuff together anyway. Um, this
Yep.
thing's legit. It comes with the steel book. Um, I had to have that, and then the other thing was I bought a bunch of Wii games, and this was in there. It's called Cursed Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this thing is pristine looking. Number one, um, it's a deep silver game, which is crazy to know. This is complete inbox. It's like some sort of scary adventure type game. Um, so I mean, I got a really good deal on what I bought, but this game looks really interesting to me. I will probably play it. I need to buy some new Wiimotes first, but these were like my big ones I got. I'm trying to think. I think those were like the ones that I really was like, these are pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and even the stickers on this thing came off really well. This looks like a brand new copy here.
Nice.
Um, the only thing I've been playing legitimately is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think I'm gonna probably try to get a platinum in that.
Nice.
The only one that's gonna be really sucky to get is there's one to get a 250 hit combo, and it sounds easier with certain characters, but it's not easy at all. Um,
Yeah.
and I gotta complete the arcade version in multiplayer, which is not gonna be easy because you have to have like, you know, 4 people or at
Mm-hmm.
least one other person. Um, I did play a little bit of Halo, but I rage quit because
Of course you did. Say hello.
that the rank stuff really just makes me mad. And I'm gonna go on a little tangent because the teams are never even. You either
No.
have one team that is like they are superior, and then we had one team. Okay, the whole thing is called King of the Hill, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you take a point and you hold that point for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
You've got like one person holding the hill and the other 2 people on the other side of the map trying to kill people. That's not the name of the game. You have to hold a point. I kept telling people to come to my area, come to my area. And like they're on the other side of the map. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's the most ridiculous thing ever. Now, when you are on that team with like legit people, it's really fun
Mm-hmm.
because then you're just dominating. But they need to do a better matchmaking of like, they have everyone's stats.
How often do people just hop off like how they used to? Like, are
So,
there teams where it's just like one person versus four?
yeah, I was in a situation a couple of months ago um, where it was, what was it? I think it was Slayer, and we were ahead by a lot, and then
Mhm.
everyone left,
Yeah,
and so it was 4 against 1. And luckily, the map was big enough. I just hid, and I
that's
had the
good.
energy sword, and I still won.
Yeah.
But um, in any of these matches, if somebody leaves, the penalty in ranked is huge. I mean, you can lose a whole level,
Mm-hmm.
but people don't care, and that's the worst. Is if you are doing a thing like um, oddball, or you're doing capture the flag, or you're doing King of the Hill, you have to have 4 people working together. It's 4 on 4 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Slayer is a lot easier if it's just one person because then they got to find you. And then the timer runs out. If you're ahead, then you win. But there's no way you're going to do capture the flag one person. Several of the matches I was in, they left mid range, and I guess it's so annoying. I think the Halo has a long way to go to fix that. They nerfed a couple of weapons, which is good, but um, I think it's kind of hilarious that uh, a headshot with a 3 round burst is an instant kill now,
Okay.
which never was before.
Yeah. If anything, that
Um,
was like maybe all. um armor down and beeping, but like definitely not a one hit KO.
Yeah, I had several the other when Alex was streaming. I was like, I said, "Yep, I just rage quit."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in the middle of a round, no one was working as a team. If you want to play Halo in ranked, get your own team, get your own people, um, and get 4 people because otherwise it's a total crap storm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now Ninja Turtles is still fun. I mean, I've completed it. I don't know how many times. It's still fun. So sorry, I had to go on a Halo tangent.
I mean, it wouldn't be an episode without it. Either that
That
or
is true.
Cyberpunk. You gotta talk about that.
Oh, that's Cyberpunk.
Yep. Um. So while you were talking about stuff and showing things, I kind of just rediscovered something that I was talking to you about for a while that you probably want. It's kind of dirty and it has like a GameStop sticker on the back that you probably get off of it. But here's this. This is Gears of
Oh,
War 2. Adam Phoenix.
holy
You
crap!
can take out the cog too. There's a flag in here. Um, Gears of War 3, excuse me. Yeah, I think I got this from Spencer at some point just for free because I like Gears of War.
That's legit though.
But yeah, this is says the coalition property of the coalition, and then it has a uh like a product code on here, like a it's really faint, like you can't really see it, but if you like shine the right light on it, like it is some sort of redemption code that you could put on your Xbox and get something.
Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I just saw that on my floor as we talked about earlier, where I just have a stack of things on my floor now in front of my desk. But now, if luckily your kids don't listen to this, right? Or do they listen to this? Because then they would be like, Alex, he stacks his stuff on his floor. It's fine if I don't clean my room. Don't.
They don't need to listen to you. I mean, I
Yeah.
was in my eldest's room the other day. It looks like a hoarder house.
Hey,
Uh,
were you in my room?
Yeah, I doubt your room's this bad.
No, my room is horrible right now, especially. But
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure I saw something that used to be ramen noodles in a
Okay.
bowl on his desk.
I do not have trash.
He's got a lot of trash.
I have just a lot of boxes and clothes. I'm going to admit. That's why I have a green screen. No one can see anything behind it. That's the main reason why I did this. And I think it's the best investment I've ever had. Especially for like work stuff or whatever. Like if I have an important meeting, I can pretend I'm at work. I have like a specific green screen back there that looks like I'm in the office. Even though we don't go to the office anymore. But anyway, yes, clean your room, kids. Things that I got. My turn, I guess. One of these came in the mail today, and one of them I got from a certain co-host of this podcast. So I guess we'll do that one first. I got Mega Man network or Rockman.exe network transmission. Audio listeners, I'm showing it right now. It's for the GameCube. It is Japanese GameCube, and it is complete in box. It has the manual. GameCube boxes are weird. I personally don't really like them a whole lot because they seem more fragile than the others. Because the manual is just kind of like it's just an empty kit. Well, that's cool because it's green, so it's like see through because of my green screen. Um, but like, yeah, I don't like how like this thing here is just a little too generic. I actually prefer the English North American boxes better. Because they just look better in my opinion. But I do like slip covers, so like this did win me over with the slip cover, assuming it never gets damaged. But yeah, I played a little bit of this. It's Mega Man Battle Network, but it's a platformer, and it worked well. It's for Japanese GameCube, and we have a Japanese Wii in my household, so I was able to play it. Played a little bit of it to test it, and it's really hard, just like I remember, because it really wants you to use those battle chips, and you only have so many of them. So, um, I don't know how much further I'll go into it, to be honest, because I was like, oh yeah, this is really hard. I thought it was just like me with dumb like kid hands and kid brain at a certain point, because like when you're a kid, you're like a savant. You're like amazing at video games, and then you get to like your like middle school or like 12 to 14-year-old age kid, and like you're not as good at certain games because either you don't read or you're playing more RPGs instead. So you're not as
Right.
good at like the older games. Um and that's when I played this one, is that I was horrible at at harder platformers as a kid. So I just thought to myself, "Oh, maybe I was just bad at games." Yes, and also I'm still bad at games. So, that's what that is. Another thing I got in the mail today, I got Digimon Adventure for the PSP,
Look at
Japanese.
that.
It is complete in box as well. It has the manual. It has like a digital download code in here. Um, but yeah, it's all here. It plays like your favorite game that we were talking about earlier. It plays like Cyber Slim. But it's Digimon Adventure. Like it's based on the anime. Um,
Okay.
so like the original anime. But yeah, it's all Japanese, and I'm wanting to play this one for a long time. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to get into Japanese collecting in the first place. So I'm happy that I finally got it. I think I paid like $20, maybe a little less, 15 to 20 for it. From the one, like the last retro person from Whatnot that I really buy from anymore. Because all the other ones I don't really. But we can talk about that later in our other thing here. As far as games that I've been playing, last week on stream I technically beat Dot Hack Quarantine. So yay, I beat that game. Beat the final boss. That final boss, I was up really late. I ended the stream at like 11:45 at night, because it even gave me a choice. It's like, oh, we have to go to the final boss, and it like took me back to town, and it let me save, and I saved still, and I was stupid. I went to go fight the final boss, and I was like, no, let's just do this. And then an hour later, I was like, oh, maybe I should have quit. um, but yeah, we beat the game. Um, so now I have all the characters unlocked. I even have Helba, who is like the hacker girl, hacker woman from the whole game, like who's been sending us like emails and stuff. And she is level 99, and she has 9999 health, and same
Oh wow.
and like 999 MP or something. Like she's super broken because she's a hacker. I'm not using her personally because that's just not who I use for my team. The final like secret dungeon is requiring me to use one person who I don't like. So I have to use him as my healer, although he's pretty bad at that, so I'm probably a healer. And then I'm going with my main girl, Black Rose, because we've been together since the beginning of the games. So um, yeah, I also finished all the anime stuff for it, so I am pretty much caught up. So I can finally go into GU here pretty soon. I also did watch a Dot Hack movie. I watched a Dot Hack movie with English subtitles. In a I acquired it a certain way. Let's just say that, because it is not available here at all in English. So I needed some English subtitles, and well, actually, I didn't even acquire it. Someone else, because it just played, and there it was. But it was okay. It was a CG anime. It was a PS3. It was in theaters, but it was a hybrid disc for one of the things I'm buying here soon. For Dot Hack Versus, which is a PS3 fighting game, like a 3D fighting game. Um, and I don't know what it plays like. It looks like it might play like Soul Calibur, so I'm interested to give that a go eventually. But yeah, it was a CG anime movie, and when they're in the world, like the MMO, it looks a lot better than when they're in real life because their faces look pretty dead. but the movie was okay. It was better in the first half, and then it just kind of died down, and you realize like, oh, the movie doesn't know what it's doing. In the beginning, it had more promise because I'm like, okay, they're taking a little time, they're introducing things, all right, let's go. And then by the end of it, you're just like, oh, this is it, okay. Which is whatever. But yeah, this is one of the two reasons, the two things I showed you before the stream. Then Dot Hack Versus and then Dot Hack Link are the two things that killed Dot Hack um in Japan. And that's why we haven't really had anything since the last recode, the thing that you bought recently, and then the thing that I
Okay.
bought recently on Switch, the re-releases, because Lincoln Versus came out after those in like 2012, 2010 era, whereas Dot Hack GU was like ended probably around like 2007. So yeah, GU was considered like the last good thing, in Japan at least. Who knows if that's actually true or not? But I mean, from the movie, I could say yeah, that's probably true. But the fighting game, who knows? From Link, I'm not sure either. Uh, but I'm interested to play those eventually. But yeah, Dot Hack's cool. Dot Hack 20th anniversary happening right now, so maybe we'll get some more things. But speaking of anniversaries and anime and other things like that, let's go into some of our news stories. If I can find the right button. I almost clicked the wrong button. All right. So we got some things here that we're gonna talk about. So I guess the first thing here, Anime Expo Lights, as well as just Anime Expo 2022, happened, and there was a lot of anime news because Anime Expo.
Was.
Yeah, and some of that news includes what we're not necessarily going to talk about. There's more about the My Hero free to play 3v3 game, which looked pretty cool. If you want to know more about that, Ben shared a link about that on our Facebook page, so you can take a look at that there. And then there was Digimon Survive is coming out. They talked all those two things at least happened in the Bandai Namco panel that I watched. It was like from like 11:30 to 12:50 a.m. And I watched it because I was like, oh, it's Bandai Namco. It's Dot Hack's 20th anniversary. Surely they'll talk about it. They didn't talk about it. Instead, they talked about Sword Art Online because that's their Dot Hack now. And what's Dot Hack? And it's Dot Hack's 10th anniversary, and that apparently matters more than Sword Art's 10th anniversary, which apparently matters more than Dot Hack's 20th. So yeah, there's a new Sword Art coming to Switch or whatever, Alicization or something. As well as oh, there was this cool game that they finally confirmed. It was a kaiju game. I don't know if you saw that. It was it's like it's Monster Rancher, but it's called Monster something else. But it's like, but it uses like kaiju, like Gomora and stuff like that, and you can fuse them as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was announced in the Japan Nintendo Direct last week or a couple weeks ago. But we officially got an announcement that it was coming to the West during that Bandai Namco thing. And it was funny because they had people like in costume, like in the actual like Sentai costumes or whatever, like they probably use like on set. So it was pretty cool to see. But yeah, that's the thing as well that got announced game wise. But the first thing that I guess that we're gonna talk about here is Trigun. Trigun is an anime that the West seems to love a lot. If you ask me, like Trigun, I watched it maybe semi recently. I would say the past 10 years I rewatched it, and I still enjoyed it enough, but it's one of those anime with a lot of stuff when we were younger that we didn't really have anime, so we didn't really know what was good and what was mediocre. Right. So we kind of just took what we could, and so like
a lot of it came from Adult Swim.
Yeah, exactly, and that's probably why we got some of this stuff because like Trigun, like as far as I can tell, like merchandising wise, and by things I've looked up, like Trigun doesn't sell well in Japan. So like the main reason like why this is coming here, or why this is re-releasing here, is one, Orange is really good just at 3D animation, CG animation, but two, it's probably coming out because of the West, because of nostalgia,
Right.
because like Fooly Cooly, like FLCL, that had progressive and alternative a few years back, and that was a season two that Adult Swim paid for them to make. And then same thing with like Big O. Big O season one, I think, was Japan, and then Adult Swim was like, "Hey, West really likes it. You want to make a season two?" And then they paid for season two. So like it seems like there's more. We'll get to another thing here in a second. I don't even know if you saw what I put in there, but like yeah, there seems to be just a lot of catering to the West, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Um,
Right.
but this feels like a Netflix show, and or it feels like it would do well on Netflix, I should say.
I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Um, Netflix seems to be Netflix is in a weird spot right now. They got all that heat for their being stupid, but they have a lot of new anime on the horizon that they're working on, that they're coming out with.
Yeah.
Besides, like, this month I totally forgot. So this month, like, Resident Evil comes out this month,
Mm-hmm.
and they just finished Stranger Things this month,
Mm-hmm.
this season, which was huge. It broke their servers. Um, I could see this doing this. I mean, I remember watching Trigun, and this looks great. Normally, I don't like excuse me, I don't like the CG ones, but this one doesn't look like the other ones. It looks very crisp and clear. Um, it's a new design on Vash,
Yeah.
so I mean, I think it looks great.
It looks really good. It looks modern. It looks better than this stupid haircut in the '90s. Honestly, like
Yeah.
it looks like a real
Well, let's be
haircut.
honest. Be
But
honest, Alex. Every '90s had really bad haircuts.
yeah, I also think though, like, well, that's kind of spoilers. I don't know if I want to spoil Trigun, because like this is gonna be a retelling of it. But like, I'm pretty sure there was a reason why Vash's hair was so bad,
Yeah,
because in the past there was a person who cut his hair, and but yeah, like I think that's why his hair was so bad in the original. So it's kind of weird to see him more silent. But whatever. I mean, Trigun it's fine. Like I said, it's not the greatest thing ever, but um, getting another audience here, and I feel like this should do fine here at least. It's the same studio, Orange, that brought you things such as Land of the Lustrous, which is one of the most beautiful anime I've ever seen before. It's kind of like Steven Universe, but without humans. It's just alien like gem people, and it's really
yeah,
cool. And then they also made the it's on Netflix. I want to say it's a Netflix anime, but Beastars. I haven't watched that, but that's the one with the like the fox and like the rabbit or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's on my list to watch. So and I did find that game you were talking about.
Mhm.
It is Ultra Kaiju Monster Farm,
Yeah, Monster
um,
Farm is what Monster Rancher was called in Japan.
and it's coming to Nintendo Switch for North America in like this year.
Yeah, so
Um, which I hope there's a physical release.
as far as
Um,
I could tell, it was digital only.
yeah, well, they did that Monster Rancher 1 and 2,
Hmm.
like the anniversary.
Yeah,
Those were only digital.
yeah,
And you know what? If I have to, I'll buy the Japanese version
yeah,
because it probably would be physical there. This looks really cool. These are like, I'm not watching the trailer. All these kaiju that they show are like from like the 60s and
yeah,
70s. This almost reminds me of Robot Wars, Super Robot Wars,
yeah.
because that's what that was.
Hmm.
Um, but this looks really, really cool. Um, and you're right, it's like a giant fighting kaiju game where you raise them, and um,
You can fuse them too. Like that's the
yeah,
thing too.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Like I'm watching the trailer now, and like they're building stuff, and their kaiju's like standing right there.
Hmm.
Like they're giant. Um, which knowing if this is anything like the other, there'll be a whole bunch of like secret ones. I know in Super Robot Wars, Spike showed up from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this looks really, really cool. Sorry to go on like a different tangent, but I did
No,
find it.
you're good. Um, Next thing that I kind of snuck in here, it's kind of important, kind of, and it goes along with the Western audience getting what they want. Or do they actually want it? I don't know if you've ever seen this before. Panning and Stocking with Garter Belt. It is one of the last Gainax anime. It's very like vulgar and like comedy oriented. Um, like it's about fallen angels who are have very do very sinful things. One's obsessed with sex, the other one's obsessed with candy. So like yeah, like it's just a comedy where they have to go and like defeat demons so they can get enough, I forget, soul coins or heavenly coins to go back into heaven. And and it's like 10 or it's like 12 episodes long because it's old Gynax, so it's like Fooly Cooly, like FLCL or something like that, where it's just goofy and weird. I think this was on Adult Swim too at a time, but I only
Yeah,
watched it when it came out digitally way back when it was only in Japanese. So I haven't really seen it in English. I have it on Blu-ray because it was really cheap once. But like it is one of those like cult fan favorites just because of how weird it is. The characters look very super deformed, like SD. Um, where like they look like Powerpuff Girls sometimes. They're less detailed, but then like when they're fighting or when they're transforming, then it like gets more detailed. Um,
I
but
mean,
yeah,
it looks definitely the colors. Um, it's definitely going to be a really colorful one, and the
yeah,
premise is pretty funny.
yeah. So
Um,
it's interesting that there's another project announced because the whole time the original series ends with a huge cliffhanger, and so they're like, oh, you have to go and do this thing and this thing, ha ha ha, someone's actually evil the whole time. And it just kind of ends stupid on purpose. But then
right,
the internet was like, oh, we need season two, we need season two, because it seems like Western audiences don't understand, like, hey, that's the joke. It's not supposed to get a season two. They made it so ridiculous at the end. It'd be stupid to get a season two. But here we are. Western audiences get what they want, you know? We got a stupid Sonic movie. Like, I mean, Sonic movie was good, I guess. But we got the Sonic movie, like, where they could change the art, and it's okay that they told people to change it. And then we got the it's not in our news story right now, but we got the Monkey Island guy getting bullied off of Twitter because they were telling him change the art, and he's like, you know what,
yeah.
I was really happy about this. I don't. I, I'm just gonna shut up for a while. Okay, bye. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's just a really weird thing that this is coming out now, and it's Trigger who's doing it. Trigger was Studio Trigger is pretty big nowadays. But they were made with like ex Gynax employees, so like they worked on this show. So for them to get the license somehow is interesting, and for them to actually do something with it is interesting. So we'll see
Yeah,
what happens with it. I'm not expecting too much. I don't know if it's just gonna be a retelling, but just bigger. Um, or if it's just going to be something completely different and they just scrap the original ending of the show and just continue on with something else. The music is really good too. I will say that. But yeah, Panty and Stocking, check it out. New anime eventually. Um, the last thing I have here, as far as Anime Expo stuff goes, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff. You can go on Anime Expo. We have, let's see here, um, Bleach. Let's see. Yeah, Bleach, Thousand Year Blood War. It's a new season of Bleach. It's coming out in October here, on like Crunchyroll and stuff like that. So it looks very, very good, and it's continuing where the anime left off, since the anime never finished. The manga kept continuing, or something happened where like it didn't quite line up. So yeah, they're actually going to finish the show, which is pretty cool. How you feel about that?
I loved Bleach. I
Mm,
never finished the series,
neither did I.
but I think it's cool after all this time, it's coming back out. Um, so I think this is a good thing. And again, this is another one that I watched on Adult Swim.
Sam.
Um, I think Adult Swim really brought out so many um, classic anime. I don't think Dragon Ball Z would be where it's at today without that.
Mm,
Um, that's the first time I watched Yu Yu Hakusho,
yep.
Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop. All of these things I watched in there, and Bleach was another one.
Yeah.
Now, as for the live action Bleach on Netflix, uh, it's a no go for me. Um, I did not believe that the one guy was Ichigo.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it just did not. It is no. But I think this is great. I think this is. I watched the trailer. I actually watched the first two trailers.
The first trailer
There,
was cool because his song number one plays, but it's like it's a little bit different, and I'm like, man, this is hyping me up. I love that number one song whenever it's playing and he's just like fighting something or getting ready to fight. It's a really good hype
yes.
song. Um,
But yeah, I think this is really cool. I think this is going to be. Um, I don't think this will be on Netflix. To be honest,
no,
I
it's gonna be on Crunchyroll, I believe.
that's what I thought. Yeah, which is fine. But I think it's a really good sign of things coming back out. Um,
Yeah,
maybe they will do um, some more of these older animes, bring them back and do more
or
seasons.
finishing them, something. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see. Because there are quite a few anime shows that kind of just randomly have an anime ending, and you're just like, that's weird. Like Soul Eater. Soul Eater
Yeah,
has a really bad ending, and I hated it so much that I kind of completely forgot about all of Soul Eater the anime. To be honest, because it was so atrocious that I hated it. But the premise of Soul Eater is cool, but also if you're gonna do a dub or whatever, you're gonna need to get new voice actors because what's his face is not liked anymore. But
I will tell you it's funny you're talking about dubbed because I watch on Twitch. There's this thing where it's all it is old martial art films,
mm,
uh, like from the '60s and '70s and the '80s, and I will tell you that um, that voice acting, is not as bad as the same guys you see over and over again in these old martial art films.
yep.
Um, but like, it's so funny because it's like, oh my god, that's like a British accent, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think this kind of opens the door for a little bit more. I think Dragon Ball Z keep continuing with new different things has also opened the door
Mm-hmm.
for these some of these older animes to come back. So
Yeah, for sure. Super definitely can be a thing to show like, oh, we can do stuff again. All right. And for Taito Kubo, his what was it called? Burn the Witch, which is a really good OVA. It's an anime. It's a manga as well. I don't know how long the manga is, but there's an OVA for it that's really good, and it takes place in like London, I believe. But
okay,
it's the same universe as Bleach, and they fight. They're like magical people, so like it's like witches and like dragons and stuff like that. And
that's pretty cool.
yeah, and but yeah, it's like his other thing, but that did fairly well, I think here. So yeah, Bleach coming back, Bleach finishing. If you want to catch up, I would recommend honestly probably just finding the manga somewhere and reading up to a certain point, because getting and watching all of Bleach, like that's a lot. And there's a lot of filler and a lot of stupid stuff in there. So it's gonna make me wonder, like, are they gonna keep any of the filler stuff in this show, like the other mod souls? Because the mod souls, the bounce, all that kind of stuff that was in the original anime Bleach were not in the manga. Only Cone, as far as I can know, was like the only mod soul that we knew about in Bleach, the anime, or in the manga. So,
Even he's got something coming out on Netflix pretty soon.
huh? Okay,
You know,
all
like
right,
that where you go in where it's like things coming out, and
yeah.
I'm like, case closed, and I'm like, I know that guy.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's a movie or if it's what, um, but I thought that was kind of cool that they were like, you know, bringing that out.
Hmm. But yeah, Bleach. Bleach is cool. Um, all right. Well, our last kind of topic here for the last part of the show, we kind of want to talk about our trials and tribulations for just our mood on collecting, because collecting has changed a lot within COVID, and then honestly within the past half a year, the whole year. It's been kind of weird lately. Prices changing, apps becoming more prevalent and helping and hurting. Um, so yeah, I guess how I want to start off this conversation would be kind of a question for you. You see, you didn't know how we're gonna do this. Neither did I. But I know. So full disclosure for everyone, you resell stuff. You
I
know
do.
that, and I mean, obviously you know that. We all know that here. You've talked about it, but just in case for new people, like that is a thing that you do. Now, as a reseller, you buy stuff on eBay as well to resell, but for your own personal collection, how do you what is your preferred method of buying? Like,
Well,
would you rather go to a store and buy it?
yeah, and Alex can adjust to can also agree with this. Seeing a thing, a product in person is always best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Alex has seen my Tiny Toons for NES. It's a train wreck, and that picture was not in there of the front cover.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm stuck with a game that is just trashed. It did work the other day,
Huh.
but there's a Blockbuster sticker on the front. There's something on the inside broken. Um, so that is an eBay purchase. I have been using Whatnot a little bit, but my biggest thing is, and I am a reseller, so I get it. Things on Whatnot are going for way more than they should. Um, when your prices are more than eBay's prices, that's a problem. And I don't want to knock. I want to choose my words very carefully because I'm not knocking, YouTubers and personalities like Jake Paul is selling off his Pokemon collection on Whatnot. I don't know. It's one of the two morons. They're both idiots. Um,
Yeah,
Jake or Logan, one of the idiots.
I think it's Logan Paul, the one
Right.
whoever signed up for was it WWE or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that the guy that boxes all the UFC fighters and like
yeah,
all excited because he
yeah.
won against the guy that?
I'm pretty sure that's him, and yeah, he's the guy who's obsessed with Pokemon cards.
Okay, well, on a side note, all he does is box people that are used to fighting with their hands and feet in submission. So of course you're gonna win. That's besides the point. But they are promoting him for this giant Pokemon card thing. He's selling off his whole collection. But the problem is Whatnot was great for the longest time because it really wasn't a lot of people selling. They kept it really low. The process to get on is very hard. I think it took me 2 times to get on. As a reseller, unless you have major big products, it's awful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was telling Alex that I saw Bigfoot on NES go for $20. That is not a $20 game at all.
Yeah.
Um, Alex, I know shops on Whatnot as well, but I guess my biggest concern is as a collector, that market's starting to get to the point where everyone has something they think it's worth a ton of money when it's not necessarily true. But um, I will buy from eBay first.
Hmm.
Whatnot if I can get a good deal. And it depends. But with what I collect, which is mostly NES, there's no way of getting a good deal on like apps like Whatnot at all. I mean, you buy a lot of stuff on Whatnot as well, or you were. I
Hmm.
mean, what are your thoughts as a collector on Whatnot now?
So I got into Whatnot random. I got into Whatnot because of you, and I was kind of just watching it casually, but never actually pulled the trigger until I saw stuff that I wanted. Um, like I forget what was the first thing that I bought, but like I bought something that I legitimately wanted. And that was kind of the first thing that I did. Now, everything that I bought from Whatnot has been things that are imports. They are things that I generally cannot find at a store. Um, so that was the first thing that I looked into when I was trying to buy stuff on Whatnot. Was all right, cool. I know that American prices are skyrocketing and through the roof at the time. So Japanese prices should be fairly cheap, and they are because they should be because like especially with RPGs and things like that, like RPGs in Japan are sports games in America, where there are just a ton of them. There might be occasional like NCAA 14 or whatever
Right,
that's expensive, but a majority of them are like Madden 08. Like they're gonna be like $3 to $5, and so with Whatnot's old shipping policy and all this other stuff, I got a hefty a collection, and I even got a lot of giveaways back in the beginning. I ended up collecting almost all of Kingdom Hearts on in Japanese. I'm missing like two of them, maybe four of them technically, if I want to get technical and get the re-releases as well in Japanese. But like, um, that's what I use Whatnot for. I have never used it to personally buy anything for my actual collection. Because I would rather look at stuff physically because that's still just the way that I am. I don't want to buy from eBay, but for things that I can't look at physically, so like a Japanese game, unless I randomly find them like I did like that one time where I found Dragon Quest like 5 and 6 for Super Famicom at a half price books in Indianapolis, and they were like $10 or $5 a piece. Like that was amazing, but complete in box too. And unless it's something like that where I can magically find it, I'm probably not going to find any Japanese games. So yeah, that's what I use Whatnot for. And I don't really use eBay at all. Um, that's not really. I don't. I like to see stuff. I guess I bought one thing from eBay maybe in the past year or so, and it's behind this chair here. I had to point correctly. This Final Fantasy 6 right here. This is from eBay. It's from I forget what his name is. Retro Psycho or Psycho something. It's a con uh booth that has an eBay. So like I know who they are, and that's why I got it that way. Because like that's where got like Mother 3, and I have like Mother 1+2 from them as well. So like unless I know who you are, or I'm not, even if you have good ratings, this is just my kind of thing with eBay.
right,
Even if you have good ratings, I'm probably not gonna trust you unless you are the only seller that has a thing that I absolutely want that I cannot find anywhere. Otherwise, I'm probably yeah, I'm probably not going to buy from eBay at all. That's just a personal thing for me.
right.
Um, but yeah, I like to go to stores, and then also if I'm just buying from eBay, same thing with Whatnot in the beginning. If I'm just buying from an app or from a website, it accumulates really fast and it totals really fast. Like I spent a lot of money. I'm not gonna say how much, but like my first month using Whatnot, I was watching streams all the time. I was watching streams like while I was like casually, like while I was like dead at work or like during lunch or something, and just watching it all day. Like I wouldn't even stream on Twitch, like my own stuff, twitch.tv/get not I mean yeah, sure, twitch.tv/get gaming, but also twitch.tv/cheatar02. Um but yeah, I wasn't even streaming back then, and because I was too busy watching Whatnot. And I it's not really an addiction or anything. I don't think it was, but or is. It was just kind of like, oh, I have access to all these things now, and it's so cheap, and the shipping is so cheap. But now that they changed shipping, now that there are too many sellers, now that the sellers that I did enjoy, they either changed way too much, or they just straight up left and made an eBay store. Um, there's only one real seller that I still watch. I mean, I'm in your streams, but I don't buy anything. But
Yeah.
but like I watch one person still, Game Fox, and like uh he's pretty cool. That's where I buy a lot of my Japanese stuff from now, because he tests it all for the most part. He's honest with you, like if it has any sort of damage, like he writes that in the description. Unlike other people, um, he shows you the disc, he shows you the quality before you're buying it, like when it's up on there. And then also, um, he has a Discord and you can request things because he has contacts and ways of getting things. So like there was one time when I was first started doing this, I was like, "Oh, hey, I guess casually like, "Oh, hey, I'm just looking for Lupin and Lupin the Third and Detective Conan games." And he's like, "All right." And he comes back and he's like, "Hey, I have like 8 to 10 games here. This is probably more than you wanted, but if you want these, cool." And I spent like $100 and some on it. And yeah, so it's cool to have this person here who can help me do that. But if Whatnot does close, at least I have other ways of potentially contacting this person. Um, but
And
yeah,
I don't picture Whatnot closing.
or getting
Um,
worse, or people leaving Whatnot, I should say.
yeah, I mean, today, before we start recording, there was 300 and like something shows just in the video game retro part. Um, and
It's
as a seller, it's ridiculous. Like, Alex watches my stream to be like, "Hey, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right?" And the last couple of times, like, you're not doing anything wrong. You have good products, you have good prices. The problem is you have these heavy hitters there. Um, I'm not gonna say who this other person is. I do like watching his YouTube stuff, but he kind of broke the system of how things work
mm-hmm,
because he does a whole stream where he's giving stuff away. And Alex and I have been in both of those streams where he's done it, and they've been nightmares. They've not
horrible.
worked. Yeah, tons of bots, which they've not fixed that yet. From a seller point of view, a lot of us sellers were really mad. They took us in, and then all of a sudden they took like 300 more in the same category. Um,
Well,
that's overkill.
that and a thing that was hurting people is that like these bigger sellers, like the person who I guess you're not naming, um, they should really announce their streams instead of just being like, "Surprise, I'm doing a stream," because then that just screws everyone else over. These people who were scheduled already for this day. Like I have a few people who I do follow, besides Fox, who were like associated with him and stuff. And they were like, "Oh, we were gonna stream," but then seller A from YouTube popped up randomly. We can't compete with that, so we'll have to reschedule for tomorrow and hope that there's not seller B there. And so, like, yeah, it's just a huge cluster. It's a huge mess.
My first stream went well. I did everything that they said. I bought products right,
Mm-hmm.
sold everything for $1, and I mean I sold like 78 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The second stream, I happened to do it on a night where there was a lot of people there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then luckily there were people in the chat that were like, "Hey, there's this huge event going on where this guy's getting rid of like his entire collection. It was like a 24-hour event, and um, you're just at a bad time."
Yeah.
And it was like a Friday night, and that's when I did my first one. So I did another one on a Tuesday night, and the only thing is you get people that come in and go, "I want this, or I want this, I want this," and then everyone leaves. And I know at one point I had like 12, 13 people, and no one was buying. I said, "Hey, shout out what you want."
Yep.
Um, and no one was. They were only wanting like certain items I had, and then they wanted me to do everything for $1.
Yeah.
Um, and I think as a reseller, you have to make a certain amount of money to make your money back. And the things they were asking to do $1 for were not. I mean, being realistic, I go to price charts,
Hmm.
um, and I go under that price of the average price. And these people were asking for like really big games for $1,
Yeah.
which is not okay.
Especially
um,
when they know and you know that you're going to not get anyone else bidding on it, so they are going to get it for $1.
right. Um, and eBay has been a good resource for me for buying product because I just buy from like Goodwills that just want to kind of push the product out. You do get what you get, but
That's annoying to me though with Goodwill
yeah,
is that you have to go on their eBay stores now because they don't get stuff in the stores really anymore.
no. And there's people that are like they know. I know people that buy and
Yeah.
sell from there, and they're buying stuff like, okay, so I know this day is when this comes out, or this is when they put their product out,
Hmm.
and you just can't. You know, we both work. But as a collector, it's been difficult for the fact that if I collect NES, anybody that gets anything against NES is like instant gold,
Yeah.
um, which is not true. It's like that for every system. That some things are worth more. I will tell you that if I get GameCube stuff, it sells super fast.
Yeah.
Um, I recently got some GameCube stuff, and over half sold in under 24 hours of me listing it.
Yeah.
But I priced it accordingly, and I think a lot of sellers are not pricing it accordingly, or
Yeah.
um,
They're pricing it too high first of all,
right,
but
and they won't come down. I showed Alex a couple of months ago. A guy had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, for $2,000,
yeah.
and I said, "Dude, this is like a $40 game." He goes, "Well, go buy it there." Okay. Um, I think the problem with retro gaming is everyone thinks they have a hot product, and that product needs to sell way above.
And they probably majority of people do not at all. Um, I would
Yeah,
argue to say that we do because we've been collecting for a long time.
right.
Um, but like yeah, because like if I look at my game eye right now, let's refresh that. Rhythm Thief still is my second rarest game if you don't count Persona 4 Golden Collection. I technically have it on here because I own it, but it's all split up in different places. So like, if I really wanted to put it back, I could, but it's damaged because I use the case and all this other stuff. But it's kind of me to keep track of what I have than really sell that one. So like my real like first like most expensive game is Rhythm Thief, which is just a random Sega rhythm game. Came out in like 2014, 2012, and it used to be like $30 when it came out. It's $330 now. Actually, excuse me, $360 now for no reason. So yeah, games are just going up in price. My dot hack is going up and down like crazy, but I got that one for very cheap. Um, Bomberman I got for cheap. Final Fantasy I got for cheap. Like a lot of these games, like I paid like not even 2 years ago, like at the beginning of pandemic even. I got Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo for $110, I believe. I think that's what I wrote in here. And now it's $226 loose. And like that's a lot. Or like even like the DS version of that Persona. 3 portable, like all these games are just way expensive for no reason.
Well,
The
it's
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like my Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Hills Far. I got a really good price on it, and right now the cart alone, just the cart, is $281. Um, and that in the time I've had it, it's gone up 40%. And that's for NES.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's the thing that like it tempts me to sell some of these things sometimes, but at the same time, like one, I don't want to sell it because it's stuff that I actually enjoy. I don't know about Rhythm Thief, but like I enjoyed that game enough. But I'm never gonna sell these games, and every time I do sell a game, regardless if I enjoy it or if I like barely enjoy it, I'm gonna regret it. That's how I am. So like, unless I'm buying stuff to sell stuff, like how you are, yeah, if I'm buying something for my own collection and I get rid of it, then I'll start to miss it, even if it's not something super
well,
great.
I think
Um,
a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of my reselling came because I want to add to my collection.
mm-hmm,
Kids, I've got a mortgage, I've got car payment. So the only way I found it easier to do was to resell products, and then I could buy for my, my things there.
yeah,
Um, and that has made things a lot easier because then I have extra money that I can use, and it doesn't come out of my other budget
yeah,
for paychecks. So that's initially why I started, but it is harder because the more I sell, the more I got to get products that are going to sell again.
mm-hmm,
Um, eBay has been a constant thing for me. Um, I will tell you that it's much easier for me to sell on. And buying isn't very hard as well. I will tell you, I go to a lot of make an offer,
mm-hmm,
and I probably piss off like 90% of the people that I send an offer to.
yeah,
Um, but, you know, especially in NES games, I've had a couple where I've like put an offer in because it's a five screw and I know it's worth way more.
mm-hmm,
But in the same token, if I get it, I'm not going to sell it.
yeah,
If I did get the five screw Mike Tyson's Punch Out, I would sell it because I already own Mike Tyson's,
mm-hmm,
or Jaws five screw because it's like a $500 game. But I think the problem with collecting is as a reseller, I try to price my things at a good price. It's not exactly what it's worth. It's cheaper than what it's worth. And I point out every flaw, but then a lot of the resellers you find now are going to be like, nope, this is what's going for eBay. This is what I want. And that makes it difficult as a collector.
yep,
And I happen to collect one of the higher expensive things to collect for right now. Um, at
yeah.
some point, it's going to dip. And once it dips, all these people that are sitting on these NES games are going to like try and cleanse them out. I think it's going to be NES, Super Nintendo, and N64. I think a lot of those are going to dip and people are going to freaking sell, but then I think they're going to shoot back up again just because of where they're at and how old they are. So,
Yeah, I agree. They're probably gonna dip when the save file batteries start to die. I mean, a
yeah,
lot of them are doing that right now, especially like Game Boy and stuff. But I bet there are quite a few people who don't know how to change those batteries, so they're probably just gonna sell it and just hope for the best and just be like, "Oh, it's broken. I guess I'm gonna sell it and get my money," and then I'll dip there. But yeah, like the things I've been collecting for recently are just like games that I just want or played as a child and wanted them back. So like, um, besides the Japanese stuff, which has just kind of honestly been random things, I'm like, oh yeah, I want this, but in Japanese. Like dot hack games. So like Fragment, I guess, is one that I really wanted. Um, which is the MMO of dot hack that you can play on PS2 and like actually connect it online, and it's really cool. Um, but yeah, they're I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, the games I'm mostly collecting for are just like yeah, stuff that I had as a child or played rented as a child. And good thing I got on those when I did, like Chameleon Twist 2 for N64, because they're N64, because YouTubers make videos about them as being like cool, obscure games, they skyrocket in price. Um, Earthworm Jim 3D has been expensive for a long time. I finally got my hands on it for like $50. I think that went up again in price because it's really bad. But it's on the N64. It's a yellow cartridge, and it has the voices from the cartoon. So like Dan Castellaneta, I believe, is in it, and like all those people. But like yeah, I just try to get things I'm actually interested in nowadays. I'm not really trying to complete a collection or anything anymore.
Right.
Unless it's something specific like the Kingdom Hearts collection, where I'm just trying to get all the Kingdom Hearts games in Japanese, because in Japan there's more versions. Like there's the regular version, there's the final mix version, and I'm almost there on that. I'm missing like 3 or 4 games, but
Well, and I
yeah,
realize that I will not complete the NES. There are too many titles that are just stadium events. I just watched stadium events on an auction a couple months ago go for like what was it, like $60,000. Um, Little Samson's still like
I'm
a $4 or $5,000 game.
yeah, those games are never gonna move in price.
No,
If they, if anything, inflation's gonna happen, but they will still say the same price maybe. Like I don't think they're gonna actually move. Like inflation will make it go down. But yeah, I don't think they're ever going to necessarily get more expensive or get less expensive. So unless you come across it randomly, like by helping someone out, by a random flea market, by a random garage sale, like yeah, you're probably not going to come across a lot of these things. But
also
if you
if
do,
I
send them to Ben.
yeah, and if I was to get a hold of stadium events, I would sell it. That's 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 college for some of my kids. You know that that's a ridiculous number.
Yeah,
Um, I would sell it, but like ones I would really like to have are like reasonably priced, like Bucky O'Hara.
yeah,
Bucky O'Hara's like $100 game,
mm,
reasonably a number. Um, but some of these ones that are like $2,000 um, or more, like Bonk's Adventure is like a $5,000 game.
yeah,
Uh, I won't ever own those, but I will come close. Right now, as my collection sits, I am 270.
mm-hmm.
So I'm at like almost 30% of what the NES for North America was.
Yeah,
Um, the total in North America was like 649. That's not the knockoffs or the Tengen or the
no,
Bible
no
games.
Bible adventures.
I actually had a Bible adventure and sold it. I bought it in a lot and I played it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, God, these are awful.
Yep.
And it actually sold for like $70.
All
But
right.
uh, no, everything is mine is the North America ones. And I also know there's a good chance I won't own all the black labels.
Yeah.
That's Alex and I were looking at them now, and there's several that are like in the $400 or $500 range already.
Mm-hmm.
But if I got to like 500 titles, that's a huge thing
For sure.
for me. Collecting is not going to be easy as time goes on. I'm sure people that collect anything, it gets harder. Um, like comics, you know, toys. I think if you're a person that collects toys from the 80s, it's got to be rough. There's like a new popularity with those. Um, I just do wish that platforms like Whatnot would get better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do feel like a lot of YouTubers on there totally take advantage of the fact of what they do.
Yeah.
Uh, I will tell you one guy that left Whatnot for the same reason was Mr. Rightway. I don't know if anyone watches. I don't know. Have you heard of him?
Mm-mm.
He's actually a pretty popular YouTuber, but he went on a whole tangent about um, the reason he left Whatnot was because he saw YouTubers purposely putting things out there to sell them for more than they're actually worth. And he gave some examples of, what was that? What was the one? It was like a pretty popular NES game, $30, $40 game sold for $150. Um, you know, I think that was my biggest problem with Whatnot there is because I've actually bought stuff from YouTubers, but I bought it at a good price.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but collecting in general is just getting harder. I know a lot of YouTubers that I watch have stopped collecting,
Yeah.
and I kind of see why. You know,
Yep.
it's been difficult.
Yeah, it has for anything. Like even still, like my Japanese games and stuff. Like I had someone who's getting stuff every once in a while for me, where I find stuff like this Digimon or even the thing that you got. But like, yeah, I'm not actively collecting. I just see like, oh, this looks cool, and then if I get it for cheap, I get it for cheap. But anyway, that has been an episode of the Get At Gaming Plus podcast. If you enjoy what you heard, what you saw, remember, write in the comments below what you think about us. If you think we're beautiful or you think we're ugly, as I said in the beginning, um, on YouTube. If you are listening to us on any sort of podcast feed, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as if you can do comments or ratings, I'd really appreciate that too. That'd be pretty cool. And hey, also if you have an Anchor account, which I know at least one of you do, go ahead and go to anchor.fm/ get at it gaming, and you can leave us a voicemail and maybe we'll play it. Maybe it'd be pretty cool to hear some voicemails. And if you are pretty chill and you leave a cool one, maybe we'll listen to it on the show and make it a topic. You can find us on a bunch of different platforms here. Like we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we are on Twitch occasionally. Eventually, we're gonna go back to our Twitch. Um,
Eventually.
who knows? But yeah, you can find us at all those places. Is there anything else you want to say to lovely people, Ben, before we get going?
Well, before I say my tag phrase, I do want to thank the people that are listening and downloading. Um, I know we don't say it enough, but I think that's great that you guys have continued to do that. Um, we don't try to look at numbers very often,
Mm-hmm.
but it's great seeing the people that do it. So thank you very much.
For sure.
Other than that, get at it.
Get at it.